Hello and welcome. It is time to let the day dissolve. Feel the weight of the world, all of its noise and its worries gently lifting from your shoulders. There is nothing to do now. There is nowhere to be. There is nothing but to breathe and to listen. Allow your body to grow heavy, sinking comfortably into the surface beneath you. Let your breathing slow down, becoming a gentle tide flowing in, flowing out. Tonight you are going to take a journey. Let your mind drift floating away from the shore of your concerns. Join me as we look up. Let's begin by picturing the night sky. Do this not with your eyes, but in your mind. Picture the deep, perfect blackness of infinity, and against that blackness see the stars. They glitter. They are like fine diamond dust scattered by a careless and beautiful hand across a sheet of black velvet. They seem so fixed, so permanent. We can almost hear the silence of this place. It is a deep, ancient and profound quiet. For all of human history, we have looked up at these same patterns. We give them names. We see the great hunter Orion with his belt. We see the familiar shape of the plough or the Big Dipper pointing the way. We see the faint, beautiful, misty ribbon of our own galaxy, the Milky Way, which looks like a river of light flowing through the darkness. This sky is our oldest ceiling. It is our most ancient blanket. It feels steady. It feels reliable. This comforting stillness, this sense of permanence helps us feel grounded. It helps us feel safe. It is a constant in our ever-changing lives. But this feeling of stillness is a beautiful illusion. The universe is anything but still. That velvet blackness is not a solid wall. It is an ocean. It is a vast cosmic ocean deeper and wider than we can possibly imagine. And just like the oceans on Earth, this cosmic ocean is full of coherence, full of movement and full of travelers. The stars themselves are not fixed. They are great islands of fire all moving through space. They are just so far away, so incredibly far that their movement is invisible to our short lives. But the space between them, the great dark void, is not empty. It is a highway, it is a vast open sea, and every now and then a traveller, a wanderer, drifts through our small, quiet part of this cosmic ocean. Let your mind try to grasp this. Imagine just for a moment one of these travellers. Perhaps it is a piece of rock. Perhaps it is a mountain of ancient ice. Long ago, something happened. A collision of new planets or the violent death of its distant star, and it was thrown ejected from its own solar system, sent on a journey into the great open darkness. This journey is unlike any journey we know. It does not last for days or for years or even for centuries. This traveller, this visitor, may have been flying through the void for millions of years, or hundreds of millions, perhaps even a billion years. Think of the silence. The profound, unbroken silence of interstellar space. There is no air to carry sound. There is only the deep, quiet hum of the universe itself. Think of the cold. A cold so deep it is almost impossible to imagine. It is just a few degrees above absolute zero, the point where all motion, all heat simply ceases to exist. And think of the loneliness. It travels alone. For generation after generation of human lives, for the entire span of our recorded history, and long, long before it has been moving, drifting, tumbling slowly in the dark. It has seen nothing but the distant cold points of starlight. It has passed through great colourful clouds of dust, beautiful nebulas where new stars are being born. It has drifted silently past star systems we will never see. It is an object of immense antiquity. When something like this passes through our own solar system, we become very excited. We call it a mystery. We point our telescopes at it, and we are full of questions. We use words like alien and unknown and strange. These words can sometimes create tension, a feeling of anxiety or of fear. But tonight we are not here for anxiety. We are here for wonder. We are here for peace. So let us change our perspective. Let us not call this traveller a mystery. Instead, let us call it a messenger. It is not an intruder, it is simply a visitor. It carries with it the story of its home. It is a physical piece, a tiny fragment of a different solar system hundreds or thousands of light years away. It is a seed from a distant garden, a garden we have never seen and may never see. And this single ancient seed has been carried on the cosmic currents floating through the dark for an age, until by pure beautiful chance it drifted into our small warm patch of sunlight. Let's think about what this messenger teaches us. It doesn't bring a message in words or in signals, it brings a message in its very being. It teaches us about antiquity. It is so very, very old. It may have been formed before our own Earth had even cooled from its creation. It carries the memory of a different, older time in the life of our galaxy. It teaches us about silence. The deep, restorative, powerful silence of the void. A silence that has lasted for eons. As you lie here listening, imagine that deep, perfect silence. Let it fill your room. Let it quiet your mind. And most of all, this visitor teaches us about patience. This messenger has been on its journey for longer than our minds can truly hold. It was not in a hurry. It did not fight the journey. It did not struggle against the darkness. It simply drifted. It surrendered to the great slow currents of the galaxy. It is a part of a slow, patient cosmic dance. And as you lie here, getting heavier and feeling calmer, you can feel that same patience spreading through you. There is no need to rush. There is nowhere to be. There is nothing to solve. You are in this moment just like that traveller floating peacefully and safely in the quiet dark. Let your mind hold on to that image. The ancient, silent, patient visitor as you drift slowly, drifting deeper into rest. We looked and we listened. And as this silent visitor passed by, it told us a story. Not with words, but with chemistry, with light. When we first saw it, we tried to fit it into a box we already understood. We thought, perhaps it is a comet. One of our own tossed out of our system and somehow looping back. Or maybe an asteroid. We have names for the things we know. But this traveller, it was not from here. And the story it told was not one we had ever heard before. The light from our sun streamed out and touched its surface. And that light bounced back to our telescopes, back to us. And in that faint reflected glow we read its secrets. We expected to see the signature of water ice. Our comets are dusty, frozen snowballs. They come from the cold, dark edges of our own neighbourhood, the Kuiper Belt, the Oort cloud. They are ancient, frozen pieces of our own beginning. They are mostly water. This visitor, it barely had any. Instead, as it warmed in the gentle sunlight, it seemed to be breathing a different kind of air. It was releasing carbon dioxide. On our world, carbon dioxide is a gas. It's the air we breathe out, but in the deep, profound cold of space, it can freeze solid. We call it dry ice. Can you imagine that? Just let your mind drift and picture it. A world, a place where carbon dioxide is not a gas, but a solid. Where it is as common as water ice is for us. A world where the comets are not made of snow, but of dry ice. That was the first clue. The first hint that this traveller was not just from a different place, but from a different kind of place. And there was more. In that reflected light, we looked for the building blocks of planets. We looked for metals. We found traces of nickel, but something was missing, its partner. In our solar system, in our recipe where you find nickel, you almost always find our iron. They are born together, they are forged in the hearts of the same ancient dying stars. When a planet forms, the heavy iron and nickel sink together, drawn by gravity down to the very centre. They form a core. Our Earth has a core of iron and nickel, it is our anchor. This traveller, this tiny fragment, it had the nickel, but the iron was strangely absent. How could that be? This is not a failure of our understanding, it is an invitation. It's not a puzzle that needs to be solved, it is simply a story that needs to be heard, the story of a different home. Just for a moment, let's follow this traveller's path, backwards. Not through space, but through our imagination. Let's travel with it back through the thousands and thousands and thousands of years it spent in the dark, back to the home it left behind. What did it look like? We can only guess, but the clues are there, the dry ice, the missing iron. Let us picture its star, its sun. Perhaps it was not a bright yellow sun like our own. Perhaps it was a cooler star, a smaller star, a star that glows a dim, gentle red. An eternal twilight. In a system like that, a planet or a cont could be much, much closer to its sun and still be unbelievably cold. A place where the light is dim and the warmth is a memory. In a place like that, carbon dioxide would freeze easily. It would fall like snow. It would carve rivers. It would build mountains of dry ice, glaciers miles thick, not of water, but of this other different ice. And any small piece, any fragment knocked loose from that system, it would be a chunk of frozen carbon dioxide, a messenger from a red light world. Or perhaps its sun was much, much hotter than ours, much brighter. Perhaps this piece of rock was born in a place of fire, a place so hot that most of the water ice would have simply vanished, burned away long ago. But the tougher, more resilient carbon dioxide ice further out could survive. What about the nickel and the iron? The recipe. It all comes down to the recipe. A solar system is born from a single giant cloud of gas and dust. Everything that will ever be in that system, all the planets, all the moons, all the comets, is in that cloud right at the start. Our cloud was rich in iron, it was rich in water, it was rich in silicon, and from that recipe our home was baked. But what if the cloud that this traveller came from was different? What if it was born from the ashes of a very specific, very unusual star that exploded, an ancient supernova that in its dying moments created a storm of nickel, but for some reason not very much iron. It's possible. The universe is a vast kitchen. It does not have just one cookbook. This is the story our visitor told us. In its silent, tumbling passage, it whispered a profound truth. We have a habit, a very human habit, of thinking that what we see around us is normal. We think a solar system should have rocky planets close to the star and giant gas planets far away. We think comets should be made of water. We think planets should have cores of iron. Because ours does. We call our home the solar system, as if it is the only one that matters. But this little traveller, this speck of dust, this different home, it told us gently that normal is just a local word. It told us that our way is just one way. Out there in the endless patient dark, there are other gardens. Countless other gardens. Gardens where the sky is blue or a deep soft red. Gardens where the water is not water at all, but liquid methane forming lakes and rivers on a world of ice. Gardens where the rocks are not stone, but giant frozen blocks of carbon dioxide. Gardens born from clouds that had different ingredients. More of this, less of that. The universe, it does not like to repeat itself. It does not make copies, it creates variations. An infinite, beautiful and endless diversity. And this traveller, it wasn't just a rock, it was physical proof. It was a piece of a cosmic garden that we will never ever see. It was the universe showing us in the kindest way possible that our imagination is still too small. It is not a frightening thought, it is a peaceful one. It's a comfort. It means the universe is not a cold, sterile, repeating machine. It is a living, creative, unfolding story. This visitor was just one word, from one page, of a book that has infinite pages, and as it tumbled away from us, growing fainter and fainter, sailing back into the darkness from which it came, it left us with that knowledge. We are here. Our home is a beautiful, water-rich, iron-cored world circling a steady yellow sun. It is our home. It is normal for us. And they are out there. Other homes, different homes. Millions of them, billions of them. Each one a unique recipe, each one a different garden. Just think about that. Let the wonder of it settle over you. The sheer endless quiet variety. A star system with mountains of dry ice. A star system that just didn't have much iron. It's a different thought, but it's not a strange world. It's just its own world. It is as normal to itself as we are to ourselves. And now as you rest, as you breathe, as you float, you can feel that diversity. You can feel the peace of knowing that the cosmos is so much larger, so much more creative than we ever dared to imagine. This visitor, this piece of another home, was a gift of perspective, a reminder to be humble, a reminder to stay curious, and a reminder that in the grand cosmic night there are more stories than there are stars in the sky. So just relax and let your mind drift to a different home, a different sun, a place of deep, quiet wonder, a different home. For a time so long that our minds cannot truly hold it, the visitor knew only the deep, a cold, profound and unending stillness. It moved through the dark, a pilgrim of the void carrying the memory of its birth in its frozen heart. This was a silence deeper than stone or cold that hovered just above the final stillness of absolute zero. In this place nothing moves, nothing changes. The stars are not fires in the sky, but merely distant frozen points of light. They offer no warmth, they cast no glow, they are just markers in an endless empty ocean. The visitor drifted. For 1 billion years, perhaps 4 billion. Time itself seems to stop in that cold. The visitor was a time capsule, a piece of the original cloud that built our system, or perhaps a wanderer from another system entirely. It was made of rock and dust and ices, not just the water ice we know, but gases frozen solid. Carbon dioxide, methane, nitrogen, all locked in a perfect crystalline sleep. It has known only this, the long night. And then after an eternity, something changed. It was not sudden, it was the slowest, most gradual change imaginable. Imagine a single grain of sand dropping onto a beach. You would not notice it. Now imagine another an hour later, and another. This is how the sun found it. At first, it was just a faint pull, the gravity of our star reaching out, tugging at everything that passed. The visitor's path, once a straight line into infinity, began to bend, a slow, graceful curve pulling it toward the center. Then came the warmth. It started far out beyond the orbit of Neptune, where the sun is just the brightest star in the sky. It was a whisper of energy, a few particles of light photons traveling for hours, striking the dark ancient crust. For millions of years this meant nothing, the cold was too deep, but the visitor kept falling. Closer, past the orbit of Uranus, past Saturn with its great rings of ice. Now the sun was no longer just a star, it was a small brilliant disk, and the warmth was no longer a whisper, it was a touch. a gentle, persistent warmth that began to soak into the surface. This warmth was a foreign feeling, an alien energy. It began to stir the ancient sleeping molecules. The temperature of the crust began to rise, from -400 degrees to -350. Still impossibly cold for us, but for the visitor it was a profound shift. The ices locked in place since the beginning of time began to feel this. The first to stir was the most volatile, the frozen carbon dioxide. This is the moment of its awakening. It did not happen with violence. There was no explosion, no crack of ice. It was a rebirth. It was a sigh. Imagine that ancient dark surface which has known only the vacuum of space. And now it begins to breathe. The frozen carbon dioxide does not melt. In the vacuum, it goes directly from a solid to a gas, a process we call sublimation. A single puff of gas rises from a crack in the crust, then another and another. A slow, steady release, a great exhalation that has been held for 4 billion years. This gas does not just vanish, it is heavy. It carries with it the dust that was trapped inside the ice. Tiny microscopic grains of carbon and silicate rock, the very building blocks of planets. This cloud of gas and dust begins to surround the visitor's solid heart. Where once there was a dead dark rock, there is now a glowing fuzzy halo. This is the coma, a temporary atmosphere born of the sun's light. The sunlight which caused this awakening now illuminates it. The visitor, once invisible, begins to glow. It is a soft, ethereal greenish-white light. It is the colour of its own past finally released. The visitor is awake, and as it falls closer, the sun's influence grows stronger. There is not just light and warmth, there is also pressure. A constant steady wind of particles flowing from the sun. We call it the solar wind. This wind catches the new fragile atmosphere. It pushes the gas and the dust gently but relentlessly. The coma begins to stretch. It is pulled back away from the sun like wind-blown hair. A faint ghostly streak begins to form. This is the tail, a magnificent shimmering banner of light stretching for millions of miles. It is made of almost nothing. A few grains of dust, a thin vapour of gas, but it catches the sunlight and becomes a spectacle. The visitor has transformed. It is no longer just a rock. It has become a comet. It is wearing the light of our system. It is alive in its own way. It is a citizen of our solar system, even if only for a short time. It is a beautiful, gentle awakening, a transformation from dark stillness to glowing motion. But the sun is not just a gentle source of life. It is a star, a vast, churning, chaotic ball of plasma and magnetic fields. And it is powerful. On the surface of the sun, far from our quiet visitor, a storm is brewing. Magnetic field lines, twisted beyond their limits, suddenly snap. In an instant, a wave of energy is unleashed. 1 billion tons of superheated gas, a cloud of charged particles, is thrown out into space. A coronal mass ejection, a solar storm. It rushes outward faster than 1,000,000 miles per hour. A wave of invisible, powerful radiation and magnetism washing over the inner planets. And our visitor, newly awakened, is directly in its path. It has only just learned to breathe, and now it must face the full untempered power of the star that woke it. The storm hits. There is no sound, no impact, just a silent overwhelm. Force. The first thing to feel it is the tail. The delicate, beautiful tail of dust and gas. It ripples, it shivers. The magnetic field of the storm sweeps through it, and the tail is torn apart. It disconnects from the comet's head, shredded by the force. The glowing coma, the soft halo, it is compressed. It bends, pushed back as the solar wind increases 1,000 times over. The storm washes over the solid nucleus, the ancient heart of the traveller. It is bombarded by particles that strip away its surface. It seems like a violent, terrible end, a fragile creature destroyed just as it woke up. But this visitor is not fragile. It is ancient. It was tempered by time. It was born in the chaos of the early solar system. It has endured the deep, grinding cold for epochs. It has survived near collisions with other sleeping giants. Its core is not a loose pile of snow. It is a dense, hardened structure forged by time and pressure. The storm is powerful, but the visitor is resilient. It holds. Its heart of rock and ice remains intact. It tumbles, it is scoured, but it does not break. It has weathered the blast. And then, as quickly as it came, the storm passes. The solar wind returns to its normal, gentle breeze. The overwhelming wave of energy is gone, moving on into the deeper darkness. There is a new calm, and in this calm, the breathing begins again. The sun's warmth, no longer an enemy, is once again a gentle touch here. The ices deep within the crust are still warm. The sublimation continues. A new cloud of gas and dust begins to seep from the surface. The coma, which was torn away, begins to rebuild itself. Softly, slowly, the glowing halo returns. And the solar wind, now a gentle push, begins to shape this new cloud. A new tail begins to grow, faint at first, then longer and brighter. The visitor has endured. It faced the fire of our star and it was not consumed. It lost a part of itself, but it held onto its core. It is a creature of magnificent resilience. It floats on past the orbit of Mars, past our own blue world, a glowing testament to endurance. It is a reminder that awakening is not always easy, that to be alive is to face the storm. But it is also a reminder that we have a core that can hold, that we can be tempered by our own history made strong by the long cold nights. It shows us that we can face the blast, and then in the calm that follows we can begin to breathe again. We can rebuild our light. This is the strength of the ancient. This is the peace of resilience. As you rest, feel that same quiet endurance within you, the part of you that has been tempered by your own journey, the part that knows how to hold on, the part that knows how to rebuild. You are as resilient as this ancient visitor. You too can breathe, you too can glow. Feel the peace of that strength, the quiet, deep and steady power of endurance. Rest now, relax, and drift on safe in your own resilient heart. Let us return to our silent traveller, this visitor from an unknown place coasting through our solar system, a tiny speck against the vastness of the sun's light. We have wondered about its journey about the ice. It carries the carbon dioxide that hints at its origins. But there is something else. Within its strange rocky form, scientists detected the signature of metals, perhaps nickel, familiar elements. The same kind of materials we find deep within our own Earth. The same kind of materials we have built our own world with. This small detail, this hint of nickel, is not just a geological fact, it is a key. It is a whisper that tells us one of the most profound truths in the entire universe. It is a reminder of a connection so deep, so ancient, it spans across galaxies and across billions of years. As you rest, as you breathe, let this one simple idea settle into your mind. The elements within that visitor, the nickel, the iron, the rock, were not created in its home star system, and the elements that make up your world, the iron at the core of our planet, the oxygen you're breathing right now, the carbon that forms the basis of all life, they were not created here in our solar system. They are all much, much older. They are gifts from a time before our sun was born, before that visitor's sun was born. They are the legacy of ancestors that were not planets or comets, but stars. Let your mind drift and let us travel together. Let us go on a journey to find our true shared birthplace. We are going to a place where stars are born. We are going to a nebula. Imagine in the deep quiet of your mind a cloud, but this cloud is not like any on Earth. It is not white and fluffy floating in a blue sky. This cloud stretches for light years. It is so vast that our entire solar system would be a single grain of dust within it. You are floating weightless at the edge of this cosmic cloud. It is a ghost of a thing, a whisper of dust and gas hanging in the blackness of space. It is beautiful. It is not dark, but glows with a soft, gentle light. You see swirls of deep red, the colour of hydrogen, the most common element in the universe. You see touches of soft blue and green, the light of glowing oxygen. It is a watercolour painting splashed across the canvas of space. This is a stellar nursery, a star factory. Here the universe is constantly renewing itself, and it all happens in a wonderful, slow, sleepy dance. Feel the stillness. In this vast cloud there are places where the gas and dust are just a little bit thicker. And in these places a tiny patient force is at work. Gravity, the gentle, persistent pull of everything on everything else. Over millions and hundreds of millions of years, this gentle pull begins to work. It slowly, slowly coaxes the particles of gas and dust together. It is not a rush, it is a leisurely drift, a cosmic gathering, a slow swirling inhale. As the cloud pulls together, it begins to spin, a slow cosmic pirouette, and at the very centre the dust and gas pack tighter and tighter. It gets denser, it gets warmer. The pressure builds not in an explosion as we think of it, but as a slow, steady compression, a feeling of immense sleepy weight, and then deep in the heart of that collapsing cloud a spark, a new light. The core becomes so hot, so dense that a new process begins. A new star is born. It flares to life, a tiny new sun, pushing back against the cloud it was born from, illuminating its cradle with golden light. This is how our sun was born 4.5 billion years ago. This is how that visitor's home star was born perhaps billions of years before ours. But as you drift in this beautiful glowing nursery, you might wonder, where did the dust come from? This cloud is mostly hydrogen and helium, the lightest, simplest gases created in the very beginning of the universe. But what about the other things? What about the carbon, the oxygen, the iron, the nickel? These heavier things, this cosmic stuff, are the building blocks of planets. They are the building blocks of us. They were not made in the Big Bang, and they are not made in these new young stars. So where did they come from? To find the answer, we must look not at the new, but at the old. Let us leave this gentle nursery and drift towards another light in the sky. A different kind of star, a giant. Imagine a star late in its life, a massive ancient sun. For millions or billions of years it has burned steadily. But its life was not just about shining, it was a factory. All its life it was a cosmic alchemist. Deep in its core, under unimaginable heat and pressure, it has been performing magic. It took the simple hydrogen and squeezed it together to make helium. This is what our sun does. But this star is much larger. It has the power to do more. When it ran out of hydrogen, it began to fuse helium, and 3 helium atoms fused together become a carbon atom. The carbon in every cell of your body, the carbon in the visitor's frozen carbon dioxide. It was forged in the heart of a star like this. The star in its ancient wisdom did not stop. It fused carbon to make oxygen. The oxygen you are breathing. It fused oxygen to make neon. It fused neon to make magnesium. And on, element by element, it built the ingredients for a new world. It was creating the palette of the universe. But the star's heart is a furnace, and every furnace has its limit. In the last dramatic moments of its life, it fused silicon into iron and nickel. The star has now finished its great work. It has turned the simple, boring gas of the universe into this rich, complex elements of life. But these elements are trapped deep inside its core. The star has one final generous act to perform. It has to give these gifts back to the universe. The star dies, and it dies in the most spectacular way possible. A supernova, an explosion of light so bright it can outshine an entire galaxy. But do not think of it as a violent end. Think of it as a blossoming. Think of it as a flower scattering its seeds into the wind. The star in its final glorious breath pushes all of those precious heavy elements out into space. It flings the carbon, the oxygen, the iron, and the nickel across the galaxy. A beautiful expanding cloud of star stuff. And so the cycle begins again. This cloud of new enriched material, this starseed travels through space. It drifts for eons, until one day it drifts into a large quiet nebula, the very same kind of stellar nursery we visited. This new material, this dust from a long-dead star, mixes with the old cloud of hydrogen. It enriches it, it gives it the ingredients it needs for the next step. And when a new star is born from this enriched cloud, it is not born alone. The leftover dust, the carbon, the iron, the nickel, the water, it swirls around the new star in a flat disk. Gravity pulls this new dust together. Small grains stick to small grains, pebbles form, then boulders, then mountains, and over millions of years this leftover star stuff, this dust of a long-dead ancestor, clumps together to form new planets. It forms rocky planets rich in iron and nickel. It forms icy comets and asteroids far out in the cold. This is the story of our Earth. This is the story of our solar system. And this is the story of Oumuamua. That visitor, our guest, was born in a system just like this. It was formed from the ashes of a star that died long ago. The nickel in its body is the same nickel forged in that star's heart. It is a piece of a supernova given form. And so are you as you lie here resting, breathing, feel the truth of this. The calcium in your bones giving your body structure, it was forged in a star. The iron in your blood which carries oxygen to your every cell, it was forged in the final moments of a dying massive star. The carbon that makes up your muscles, your skin, your hair, it was created by an ancient stellar giant. The oxygen you are pulling into your lungs with every slow, deep breath, it is a gift from the stars. You are not just on the Earth. You are the Earth. And the Earth is the universe. You are quite literally made of star stuff. You are breathing star stuff. You are thinking with star stuff. That silent visitor passing through our home is not a stranger. It is not an alien in the way we think. It is family. It is a distant cousin born from the same cosmic lineage. We are both the children of long-dead stars. We are both collections of atoms forged in the same cosmic furnaces, just assembled in different ways in different corners of the galaxy. Feel that connection. It is not a thought, it is a physical fact. You are connected to everything, to the ground beneath you, to the air you breathe, to the planet you call home, to the sun that gives you warmth, and to that distant traveller and the star it came from, and to every star you see in the night sky, and every star you cannot see. You're all one. all made from the same beautiful recycled ancient star stuff. There is no separation. There is only connection, a deep, quiet, cosmic connection. Let this feeling of connection hold you. Let it be your anchor as you drift. You are not small, you are not alone. You are a part of the universe, and the universe is a part of you. And it is time for this part of the universe to rest, to sleep, to dream. As we drift, letting our minds float free, let us follow our silent visitor once more. It has passed the fiery heart of our system, the sun, and is now on its long journey back out, climbing away from that bright center. It is moving faster than anything we have ever built, a streak of darkness crawl against the dark, and yet it does not feel rushed. It does not seem to be in a hurry, because it is not flying. It is not steering. It is dancing. It is engaged in the oldest, most universal performance in the cosmos. We can call it the gravitational dance. From where we watch here on our small blue world, we are used to purpose. We build engines to push us. We aim, we thrust, we correct our course. We fight against the wind, we fight against the pull of the earth. Our visitor knows nothing of this struggle. It has no engine, it has no map. It is simply surrendering to the oldest law, the one that shapes everything. It is following the gentle, invisible curves of space itself. Imagine for a moment our entire solar system. Picture it not as an empty void, but as a single enormous sheet of dark, heavy silk stretched out for billions of miles. It is pulled perfectly flat and taut, held in a state of perfect stillness. Now in the very center place a great heavy weight. This is our sun. The silk does not break, it bends, it curves. The sun sinks down, creating a deep, wide, sloping well in the fabric. This well is the sun's gravity. It is the shape of its power. Now let's add this planet. A small distance from the center we place a tiny spinning marble. This is Mercury. It tries to roll straight, but it is caught in the sloping side of the sun's well, and so it rolls around the well in a tight, fast circle. A little further out we place another Venus, and then another, our Earth. We are also marbles rolling in the groove we have found. We are not tethered by a rope. We are simply following the perfect circular depression our sun has made for us. Our orbit is this groove. It is stable. It is safe. It is the path of least resistance. We can feel this in our own bodies. The feeling of weight, the feeling that holds you in your bed right now, is just this. It is the feeling of our Earth, our own marble, creating its own tiny dip in the fabric, and you are resting gently at the bottom of it. You're held. You're secure. Our visitor is something new. It is a traveller from outside the silk sheet. It came in from an immense distance, from the flat, untouched part of the fabric, far from any star. It arrived with its own speed, a tiny pebble thrown from an infinite distance. It began to feel the great well of our sun, and it started to fall in. Down the slope it went faster and faster, curving tightly around the central weight, feeling that intense, radiant heat. And then, with all that momentum, it began to climb back out the other side. It is on that outward climb right now. It is moving away from the sun, but it is still deep within the sun's well. Its path is still bent by that central massive presence. But the well of the sun is not the only shape in the fabric. Out in the deep cold, far beyond Mars, circles the giant, Jupiter. If the sun is a great heavy weight, Jupiter is a bowling ball. It creates its own profound dip in the silk. It is a well within the well, a spinning vortex with its own family of tiny marble moons dancing around it. Our visitor on its climb out does not aim for Jupiter, does not even see it. It simply follows the path it is on, but that path is about to take it gliding right past the edge of Jupiter's influence. As it gets closer, the fabric of space itself begins to tilt. It is no longer just climbing away from the sun. It is now falling just a little sideways into the well of Jupiter. This is the next step in the dance. This is the grand tour. The visitor does not fight this new pull, does not resist. It surrenders. For a few weeks, its path, which was a long, simple curve, begins to bend. It is a graceful, slow-motion turn. Jupiter is the great dance partner. It reaches out with its invisible arm of gravity, and our visitor places its hand there. They spin. Jupiter pulls the visitor, and in pulling it, the planet gives it something. It gives it a gift of speed, like a dancer spinning a partner and releasing them with more energy than they had before Jupiter flings our visitor. It performs a gravitational assist, a slingshot. The visitor's path is bent, and it is also accelerated. It is given a gentle, silent push on its way to the stars, a farewell gift from the giant. The visitor does not say thank you. It does not know what has happened. It is just an object following the laws, but its destiny has been changed. That single graceful bend around Jupiter has altered its trajectory. It will now leave our solar system pointing in a new direction, with a new speed aimed at a different distant patch of sky. It continues on its way. Perhaps its path takes it near the quiet reddish groove of Mars. The little red planet gives a tiny, almost imperceptible nudge, a ripple, a whisper. I am here too, it says. We are all connected. This is the harmony. This is the order. Our universe is not a collection of things, it is a web of relationships, it is a dance. The moon dances with the Earth and its siblings dance with the sun dances with the other 200 billion stars in our Milky Way galaxy. And our galaxy, our great spiral of light, is itself falling towards another, Andromeda, in a slow cosmic waltz that will take 4 billion years to complete. There is no chaos here. There is only physics, which is the rhythm of the dance. There is only gravity, which is the music. Our visitor is a perfect example of this. It did not choose to come here. It did not choose its path. It is simply obeying perfectly the sum of all the pulls and tugs and whispers in the fabric of space. It is in a state of perfect harmony with the universe. It is being moved by an invisible, ancient and beautiful logic. We can find that same peace. We too are held by these laws. We are on a planet that is rolling in a perfect safe groove. We are held in our beds by that same gentle curve in the fabric. We do not have to fight. We do not have to steer. Right now, all we have to do is let go. Feel the pull of gravity, not as a weight, but as an embrace. It is the universe holding you. It is the same law that guides the planets, the same law that guides our silent interstellar guest. You can trust this law. You can surrender to it just as the visitor surrenders to its path. Let go of the need to control. Let go of the thoughts of the day. Feel the order, the peace and the deep silent beauty of the rules that hold everything together. There is nothing to do, nothing to solve. There is only this moment, this quiet and this gentle invisible dance. Allow yourself to fall. Fall into the well of sleep. Safe, secure, and perfectly held. We spoke of a visitor, a silent traveller from beyond our own family of planets. We called it Oumuamua, and then not long after another, two, i.e. /Borisov, a comet clearly from another star. These guests, these tiny fast-moving shadows passed through our home, our solar system, and then continued on their journey, vanishing back into the deep. It is easy to think of them as rare, wonderful exceptions, miracles of chance, but the universe in its quiet, patient way suggests something else. These visitors are not exceptions. They are simply the first we have seen. They are the first pieces of driftwood to wash up on our particular shore. And if even 2 pieces of driftwood have appeared in just the few short years we have been looking, imagine how many more are floating unseen in the darkness. The vast dark space between the stars is not empty. It is a river. A slow, unimaginably wide and ancient river carrying the fragments of other worlds. Bits of ice dust and rock cast out from their own solar systems by the gentle chaos of gravity. They drift for eons, moving in perfect silent obedience to the laws of the universe. Our guest was just one of many, one of perhaps billions upon billions, a quiet fleet of messengers sailing through the night. Now let your mind drift. Let us follow one of these messengers, back to its home, or perhaps let us simply pull our own view away from our small familiar shore. Let us rise up, leaving the Earth, our blue-white marble, behind. We float past Mars, the red ember, past the great swirling storms of Jupiter, past the silent ice-blue worlds of Uranus and Neptune. We pass the Kuiper belt, that distant ring of icy comets. We have reached the edge of our own solar system. Looking back, our sun, our brilliant life-giving star, is now just the brightest star in the sky. A single point of light. All our planets, our home, our entire world, is just a faint speck of dust orbiting that single light. This is our home, a single speck of light in a great darkness. But as we drift further, we begin to see that we are not alone. Our sun is not a solitary light. All around us, in every direction, are other lights, other stars, thousands of them, millions of them. We are floating inside a vast, glittering city of stars. This city, this is our island. We call it the Milky Way. It is an immense swirling island of light. It is so large that light itself, the fastest thing in the universe, takes 100,000 years to travel from one side to the other. 100,000 years. This island is not home to just a few stars, it is home to hundreds of billions of stars, 200 billion, 300 billion, 400 billion. The number is so large it becomes a feeling, a weight, a sense of awe. 400 billion stars, each one a sun. Many of them, perhaps most of them, have their own families of planets, their own solar systems, their own tiny distant shores. Imagine that. 400 billion potential homes, 400 billion sources of light, and from many of these systems, gravity in its patient cosmic dance has gently nudged small pieces of ice and rock, sending them on great journeys, sending them out into the space between the stars. Our island is alive with these drifting messengers sailing between its 400 billion suns. We are floating in a sea of stars, and that sea is filled with the silent stories of a billion other worlds, all contained within our one magnificent island of light. Now, let us drift even further. Let us leave our island behind. We float out past the glowing, starry edge of the Milky Way and into the darkness beyond. We enter the truly deep, dark ocean, the space between the islands. From here, looking back our entire galaxy, our Milky Way with its 400 billion stars, it too begins to shrink. It becomes a single beautiful swirling patch of light against the black, a magnificent glowing island turning slowly in the quiet, our home. But as our eyes adjust to this profound darkness, we see something. Far away, a faint fuzzy patch of light, and over there, another and another and another. As far as we can see in every direction, the darkness is not empty. It is dotted with lights, but these are not single stars. Each one of these faint distant lights is another island. Each one is another galaxy. Some are great spirals, just like our own Milky Way. Some are huge glowing ovals, like cosmic eggs holding trillions of stars. Some are small irregular clouds of light little island neighbours. This is the universe. It is not a void. It is a cosmic ocean, and this ocean is filled with islands of light. Not thousands and not millions, but billions. We now believe there are at least 2 trillion galaxies. 2 trillion islands of light, each one containing hundreds of billions of stars, hundreds of billions of worlds. Let that number settle into your mind. Not as a fact to be memorized, but as a feeling of scale. 2 trillion islands adrift in the great peaceful cosmic ocean, and the space between them, that vast, dark, quiet ocean that separates the galaxies. It is not empty either. It is the great pathway. It too is filled with those silent messengers. The Oumuamuas, the 2I/Borisovs, fragments of rock and ice ejected from their home islands with such force that they left their galaxy entirely. They are the true interstellar, the true intergalactic travellers. They drift in the great void not just for thousands or millions of years, but for billions of years, sailing in the perfect peaceful silence from one island of light to the next. Imagine one such traveller, a piece of ice, born in a distant solar system in a distant galaxy a billion years ago. It has travelled across the great ocean, a messenger with no message, a traveller with no destination, a silent witness. The universe is not empty. It is full. It is full of these islands of light, these great glowing galaxies, and the space between them is full of the silent currents of time carrying the oldest travellers in existence. There is a profound peace in this, a peace in this grand cosmic ocean. We are not lost in a void. We are part of an archipelago, a living, breathing, connected universe. The darkness is not an absence. It is the ocean itself. It is the quiet that holds all the light. It is the peace that allows for these great silent journeys. So let your mind drift on that ocean. Feel the slow, steady current. See the distant, gentle lights of the islands, the other galaxies shining in the calm. There is no hurry here. There is only the vast, deep, peaceful quiet of the cosmos, the gentle turning of the islands, the silent passage of the ancient travellers. You are safe in this ocean. You are part of its scale. You are part of its peace. Hello again. Welcome back to this space, a place of quiet and of contemplation. Let us begin tonight not with a journey forward, but with a deep journey back. Back beyond our own lives, beyond our cities, beyond the first memory of our species. I want you to imagine a guest here in this quiet space with you. You cannot see this guest, you cannot hear them, but they are here. They fill the room. In fact, they fill the entire universe. This guest is an echo, the oldest echo there is. It is a visitor from a time before time, as we know it had any meaning. This guest is ancient, older than the Earth, older than the Sun and its family of planets, older even than the very first stars that ever lit up the cosmic dark. This guest is a traveller, and it has been on a journey for 13.8 billion years just to be here with you now. It is a time capsule. It holds within it the memory of a universe so young it had not yet learned how to make a star or a galaxy or a single speck of dust. It holds the memory of the very first morning of the cosmos. To meet this guest, we must travel. Let your mind drift. Feel the gentle pull of time reversing. Let the clock spin backward faster and faster. We go back, past this day, past this year. We drift back through all the moments of your life like leaves falling in reverse back onto the tree. We drift back through the noise of recent centuries, the rise of cities, the hum of industry. We see the great structures of civilization dissolve, fading back into the earth. We move back through all of human history. The first fires, the first words, the first upward glances at the stars. All of it unwinds. We are now in a deep past. The ice ages come and go, vast sheets of white advancing and retreating in a silent planetary breath. We see strange and enormous animals, all now long to dust. We keep going back. The continents themselves are not where they should be. They are moving, drifting, rejoining, breaking apart. We fly back over a planet that is unrecognizable. We go back 4.5 billion years. The Earth is no longer a blue and white marble. It is a molten, angry red ball of rock, a world just being born, but this echo, it is still older. Our sun itself dissolves. Its light and warmth fade as we travel back to a time before it was born. We are floating in a vast, dark, cold cloud of gas and dust, the nursery from which our star would one day spring. This cloud is made of the ashes of other stars that lived and died long ago. So we go back further. We rewind past those first giant, brilliant blue stars, the generation of stars that forged the first heavy elements. They too fade from view. We are now in an age of darkness, a time the universe was empty. Not truly empty, but dark. The cosmic dark ages. The universe was a vast, silent ocean of hydrogen and helium gas waiting for the first light. But this echo, this guest we are seeking, is even older than this. We must go back further still. We push back to the very edge of this darkness and we stop. We are at a moment not at the precise instant of creation, not at the Big Bang itself, but just after. We are at a time 380,000 years after the beginning. And it is not dark. It is bright. Imagine if you can a fog so thick and so total that it fills every corner of existence. But this is not a cold grey fog. It is a hot, glowing, blindingly bright fog. The entire universe in every direction is a brilliant, dense, orange-white glow. It is as if we are on the inside of a star. This was the universe. It was a hot, dense soup of tiny particles, protons and electrons, the building blocks of matter. And in this soup there was light, photons, but the light was trapped. It could not travel. It would try to move and instantly it would hit an electron and be scattered. It was like a game of cosmic pinball, the light trapped in this hot electric plasma. The universe was opaque. For 380,000 years it was like this. The universe was expanding, and as it expanded it was cooling. Like a hot gas spreading out, it was losing its intense heat. And then it happened. The universe reached a magic temperature, about 3,000 degrees, just cool enough for the protons and electrons which had been zipping around frantically to slow down and find each other. The protons and electrons combined. They joined hands. They formed the first stable atoms of hydrogen and helium. And in that moment, everything changed. The fog cleared. The particles that had been trapping the light were now neatly bound up in atoms. The light was suddenly free. The universe in a single collective instant became transparent. The light that was unleashed in that moment, that is our guest. That is the echo. It is the first light, the universe's first free breath. This light, this flash of creation was not in one place. It was everywhere. It filled the whole of space, and from that moment on it has been travelling in all directions through an expanding universe for 13.8 billion years. But what happens to light that travels for so long through a universe that is stretching? The light stretches with it. That brilliant hot orange-white light, its waves have been stretched out, longer and longer and longer. It has cooled, it has faded, it has shifted all the way from visible light past red light, past infrared, and into the range of microwaves. It is the cosmic microwave background. This is the echo. It is the afterglow of the Big Bang, the oldest light in existence. And here is the most profound part, the part that brings us back to this room. This light, this ancient guest, is not something you must travel to go and find. It is not in a distant galaxy. It is here, right now. It is in your room. It is in the darkness behind your closed eyes. The empty space between you and the wall, the space between your atoms. It is not empty. It is filled with this faint ancient light. These photons, these messengers from the dawn of time, are bathing you at this very moment. Billions of them are passing through your body every second. If you had an old television, one of the analog ones, and you set it to a channel with no signal, that snow, that static, that sound, a small part of that static is the television's antenna picking up this very echo, the sound of creation. So as you lie here, feel the presence of this guest. It is a connection, a tangible link not just to the stars, but to the very beginning of the space and time that holds them. The universe is not a cold, empty void, it is a room filled with the faint, warm, gentle afterglow of its own birth. You are not separative from this history. You are immersed in it. The darkness that surrounds you is not empty. It is full of memory. It is the oldest, most gentle blanket in the universe. Feel yourself enveloped by it. This is the oldest history you will ever know. The first light, the echo of the beginning. It has travelled for nearly 14 billion years to be here with you to fill this quiet moment and to wish you peace. You are floating safely in an ocean of ancient light. You are held. You are part of the echo. And so our silent visitor, the traveller from an unknown star, continues its journey. It has passed the orbit of Neptune, the last great sentinel of our system. It is tumbling slowly end over end in the vast and fading light. It is leaving the familiar neighbourhood of our star, that faint distant point of yellow light that is now shrinking behind it. The great giants of gas and ice, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, are now just memories. Gravitational whispers it felt as it passed by. Its time in our solar system, which felt so momentous to us, was just a brief flicker in its own long story, a quick hello in the dark and a long slow goodbye. It is returning to the deep, the cold, the unending night between the stars. It came from that stillness, and to that stillness it now returns. It carries no memory of us, it has no awareness of the eyes that watched it, of the minds that wondered about its origin. It simply is. A piece of ancient rock or ice, or perhaps something we cannot yet imagine falling through the cosmos propelled by gravity and time. It is returning to its slumber, the great quiet sleep of interstellar space. There is no rush, there is no destination it is trying to reach. There is only the journey and the cold and the dark. It will drift for millions, perhaps billions of years before it encounters another star. It is an emissary of the void, and its journey in this moment reminds us that all things are temporary. All encounters are brief flashes of light in an ocean of darkness. Our own journey tonight has also been vast. We have travelled so far together, you and I. We have drifted through the glittering spiral arms of the Milky Way, our home galaxy. We have watched stars being born in the great colourful clouds of nebulae, pillars of dust and gas, glowing with the light of new suns. We have considered the scale of it all, the billions of stars in our galaxy and the billions of galaxies beyond our own. We have floated in the great, beautiful and silent emptiness, feeling the chill of infinity. But now our journey is also drawing to a close. It is time to come home. Feel your awareness pulling back from that cosmic scale. We leave the distant galaxies behind those islands of light in the cosmic sea. We pull back from the edge of our own Milky Way, leaving its spinning arms behind. We fly past distant, unfamiliar stars and dark clouds of dust. We move through the great icy sphere of the Oort cloud, that cloud of comets surrounding our own system. We pass the orbits of the outer planets, those cold sentinels we just watched our visitor leave. We come closer into the inner system. We see the bright beacon of our sun, a star like so many others, yet profoundly special to us. It is the heart of our home. We pass the rocky inner worlds. We pass the red sands of Mars, a world of ancient dry riverbeds and towering volcanoes. And then we see it, our own world. That beautiful, fragile oasis of blue and white spinning in the velvet dark. We see the deep, vast oceans and the familiar, comforting shapes of the continents. We drift past our moon, our ancient, silent companion. Its silver face marked by craters is a testament to billions of years of history. A quiet guardian watching over our nights. And from that high, peaceful vantage point we drift down through the thin, protective veil of the atmosphere, that gentle shield of air that holds all of life. We see the lights of cities glittering like scattered diamonds on the dark land. We drift down over your region, your city, your town, over the very roof of your home, and gently, softly, we settle. We return back into this room, back into this moment. Feel yourself settling back into this space, back into the comfort of your bed, back into your body. Become aware of the simple physical sensations, the softness of the pillow beneath your head, the gentle comforting weight of the blanket resting upon you, the air in the room cool and still, and most of all, become aware of the gentle steady rhythm of your own breath. In and out, a simple automatic miracle. We have spent this time looking for peace in the vastness of space. We have looked for stillness in the great cold dark between the stars. We have sought comfort in the immense turning of the galaxies. But the secret is this, that stillness is not just out there. It is in here. The silence of the void, that perfect profound quiet, is mirrored in the silence of your mind as it begins to drift. The ancient calm of a universe that has existed for nearly 14 billion years, that same ancient calm is inside you. You are made from the remnants of stars that lived and died long before this earth was formed. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen you are breathing right now, all of it was forged in the fiery hearts of distant, long-vanished suns. You are not separate from the universe, you are a part of it. You are the universe becoming aware of itself, just for a moment. And now that awareness is letting go, it is releasing its hold on the day, on all its thoughts, its worries and its plans. It is returning to a simpler, more fundamental state. The cold, peaceful emptiness of interstellar space. You can feel its echo in the deep relaxation spreading through your limbs. A sense of pleasant heaviness, a sense of release, the feeling of drifting, of floating. It is the same feeling as letting go into the deep, welcoming ocean of sleep. There is nothing left to do, there is nowhere else to be. The journey is over for tonight. The visitor has returned to its long sleep. The stars will continue their silent dance. The galaxies will continue to spin, and you will return to your own nourishing darkness, your own peaceful stillness. You are home. You're safe. You're part of the great quiet cosmic story. Let your breath be the anchor. Let the stillness claim you. Let the universe hold you. Let go and sleep.